All right. So what got you interested in coaching?
Um, I just want to like find out what I can be doing better, sort of, and be a little smarter at the game.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense. All right. All right. Let me get your form pulled up here. So break me down your Overwatch history. How long you been playing the game? Let's just start with that.
It's I started like at the very beginning, right? It was yeah, like closed alpha, right?
Yeah.
And then I played for a while. I've always been a quick play warlord until like Overwatch 2 came out.
Okay. Cool.
And I took like a 2 year hiatus before Overwatch. No, like season 35, I want to say, is when I came back. I don't know.
Okay. Makes sense. What made you take a break and what brought you back?
It I think I was just kind of bored with the game at that time because I wasn't like doing competitive. I was just like quick play lobbies. So,
Okay. Why were you a quick play warrior?
because I have comp nerves. Comp scares me.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Okay, I can relate. That was me back in the day for quite a
Yeah.
long time. Terrified me. How often did you play ranked, or did you just not play ranked like at all?
I just like never played rank. Like
Yeah.
before Overwatch 2, I had like maybe 100 hours on ranked.
Yeah. You know, quick play warriors really just are the worst. I just have no respect for that player whatsoever.
Yeah.
They're just the literal worst. You know, I just have no respect for those type of people. Generally, are just they don't shower. They're just disgusting human beings. You know, imagining having a lot of hours in quick. Yeah. You see what I'm saying, right?
Takes one to know one.
Yeah. See, for me, quick play has been recently, like I guess in the last few years, really. It's just been like the social of it. But early on, I really was scared. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I probably put back in like this was like season 8, 9, whatever, 7. I probably put easily like, geez, I don't know, at least a few hundred hours in quick play before I put even 20 hours in ranked.
Yeah.
Every ranked game was like I gotta set up my desk. I gotta make sure that I feel warm and I feel like I'm playing really good and I'm like hard calming and I'm like stressed out and then the bomb music and I'm like you know like I'm terrified. All right, so are you still there, or have you
I'm here.
moved on? I guess sorry with the
Oh, yeah.
the competitive anxiety, is that still is something that you're struggling with?
I'm still like nervous about playing comp, but I do play. I do play quick play occasionally, but I try to play more comp now.
Sure. And how has the competitive anxiety gone? Because you play more comp, but that does. But is it still a big issue, or has it gotten a little bit better?
It's a bit better. It's hard to start, right? Like queuing the first game is usually the hardest, and after a
Yeah.
few games, it's better, and I can get into it. But then I like worry, like, will my streak end? And then so generally, it's a lot better than it has been in the past,
Okay.
though.
Well, good. Why do you think it's gotten better? Just from just rapid exposure, or what?
I think I've just been playing more comp, so
Sure.
like I'm more used to it.
Sure. I'm at the point now in time where I'll just like I'm gonna play. I guess I'll play a game of Sigma, just queue in ranked. I'll just pick a hero, and I'm not even in team voice. I'm just like I'm just
Yeah.
like chilling. And it's funny. I find myself playing better when I'm like that. You know what I'm saying? But honestly,
Yeah.
like comp needs to be like quick play for you, because ultimately it's just practice, right? Like if you go on a
Yeah.
loss streak, doesn't matter, right? Like, okay, how old are you? 16?
I'm 16.
16.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you played any sports in the past?
No.
Okay. I'm talking about like, okay, so like even as like a kid.
Oh, I did play soccer
Okay.
for like a season.
Sure. So you play soccer for a season, you show up on game day. If you lose the game, what do you do? You go
Go
home.
home.
Right?
Yeah.
You're done. You're cooked, you loser. Right? Like dumpster garbage can. What were you, like 8 or 9, 10, 11?
Probably
5?
like
Yeah.
9.
Whatever. Okay, so yeah, garbage, worthless. No. But that's it, right? You're done. But obviously you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You ranked, you lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Go again. Imagine like if you had like a basketball court in your backyard, people playing pickup basketball, literally 24/7.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it never stopped. And the worst thing that you had to do is if you lost a game, you had to sit in the sideline and wait like 5 or 6 minutes before the next game started at another court, right? It's the same thing. Now,
Yeah.
what will happen is because it's more fun to play versus people of your own skill level, they'll have a tiering system. Because if you're dunking on like 14-year-olds that have never shot a basketball in their life, it would stop being fun. really quick, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they have the tiering system, is to, first off, to encourage people to try a little bit harder, but also just because it helps to make the games more fun when people have a relatively equal skill gap. At least that's the goal. Whether that's been a success recently or not is up to interpretation. But you kind of see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
You don't get you get a nice shiny little reward on your career profile if you hit Grandmaster or top 500, but like, I mean, even that's temporary, right? What are you gonna do with those points? You know, buy another gold gun for, you know, Symmetra. You know, like, it's at this point it doesn't even matter. So you kind of see my point, right?
I can see it. Like objectively, I know that's right, but also like I'm kind of a bad loser to
Okay.
myself, sorta.
Okay. Give me an example of that. To yourself, you said.
Yeah. So
What do you mean by
like,
that?
since I've always been like a quick play warlord, like I just play quick play, and usually like I'm like the best player in the lobby in a quick play lobby. At least in Overwatch
Oh,
1 it was.
right, right.
So then when I finally played comp, I was like severely underranked, and I went on some ludicrous streak, like 40-5.
Yeah.
And then like once I hit masters, like the game actually started being difficult. So then I had to learn to lose, which I'm still working on.
Yeah. 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 Here's my tip for learning how to lose. Understand that you need to learn how to lose, and then suck it up and lose. Like,
Yeah.
that, like, there's no life hacks for it. Like, you're at an age to where, like, you're still, you know, you're not young, but you're still relatively young. So like,
Yeah.
there's a lot to learn here. But this is why kids get involved in sports. This is why, you know, teenagers like you get involved in like esports. You need to learn how to lose and lose gracefully. If you're struggling with that right now, not a surprise, because it doesn't sound like, especially in your Overwatch career, you're used to losing too much, right? You're used to just turbo stomping but obviously avoiding losing is not exactly a productive thing either, because the thing is that loss is unavoidable as a human being. So this is a good way of like building that skill, because obviously it doesn't matter what you do moving forward, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose a lot. Even if you're an extremely successful person. I mean, the corny phrase, which is kind of true, is that a lot of the more successful people are the ones that lose the most, because they put themselves out on a limb at high risk situations, which takes guts. And if you don't got guts, you need guts. So for you, it's like, you know, you're a bad loser. Okay, well, it's a priority to change that. And the only way to change that is to obviously is to lose a lot, and to understand that every loss that you lose something from, or you learn something from it. And I guess the way you learn to lose is it's not even like you embrace losing and you look forward to each loss, but that you develop a sort of indifference to the win or losing period. Like, I'm not going to tell you that losing doesn't matter, winning doesn't matter. Of course it matters. Every time you win, you're going to be excited. Every time you lose, you're going to be a little bit frustrated. That's life. We're not robots, sadly. However, the goal should be to try and balance it.
Yeah.
To where every win is not like, yes, yeah, you know? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. What do I need to do better? How did I play? Did I have fun that game? You know? And every loss is not like a crippling defeat, because the problem is when you get obsessed with like the wins and losses, you're going to do a couple of things. Okay. You're going to want to end on win streaks, which means cut your practice short. You're going to want to, you're going to tilt Q. You're going to get depressed or frustrated after a loss. You're going to stop looking objectively at your gameplay. You're going to swap heroes around because you're like, oh, I don't want to lose this because I don't think Ashe is the pick here on. I'm going to go Reaper because they're on, you know, right? That's wasting time in practice, and you end up playing a hero that you don't even like that much, and you kind of see what I'm saying. I mean, I could go on.
Yeah, I do at least 3 of those regularly.
Well, shocking, really? Shocking. You know. So what are we going to do? Are we going to address the individual issues, or are we going to address the root problem? You know, hopefully we're going to address the root problem. Now, obviously, I'm going to snap my fingers, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to have fix your losing mindset, right? I mean, obviously, no. Like, this is something that you need to be aware of and continue to work at, and like any skill, it will get better with time. But you also need to understand that like it's not reasonable for you to have a good losing mindset this week, next week, this month, even this year. But be aware that's an issue and work at it.
Yeah.
because you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a hard time moving forward if every loss cripples you. And can you imagine an IRL? Can you imagine an IRL loss streak? Oh, you've lost a lot of games. I guess it's time to stop trying at your job. Like, oh, I didn't get the promotion. I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna take well, maybe not. Can you imagine if you got a promotion at work, or you won a game, or you passed the test, and then you're like, yeah, you celebrated, you freaked out, you just didn't do anything for like a week. You just stopped working at that skill because you achieved that success.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds ludicrous, right? But that's a lot of what a lot of people do at Overwatch. Certainly not you, though, right?
That's exactly what I did at the end of season 2, where I hit GM and I stopped playing for a week because I wanted to end with GM.
Yep. But you see how it's like the shiny thing is more important than actually just playing the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a balance there. Everybody wants to go home holding the trophy. I'm not gonna lie, right? I've got a football MVP award that I hang up on my wall, from high school back in the days, right? I'm not immune to it, right? But I don't think about that MVP award so much as I think about some of the plays that I did or the games that we had, right? That award was like the cherry on top, or like the physical ramification of all the stuff that I did along the line to get there that I really think about and I enjoy, right? So for you, it's like every day the ranked games that you're playing, that's what really matters. It's not the GM1. You're GM1, right?
Yeah.
That's just like a physical representation of something that you've put a lot of time into, and the things that lead up to that are a lot more important, I guess. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense. And like, I know that, and I'm getting better at recognizing that, but
Great.
it's like still like, oh, I'm hard stuck GM1.
Yeah, that happens, but that's a slippery slope, hard stuck top 500, hard stuck top 300, hard stuck top 200, hard stuck top 100, hard stuck contenders, hard stuck bottom L.
Yeah.
There's never, I mean, for crying out loud, what is it? Some esports article put out like the top 5 Overwatch League players of all time. And people are saying like, oh, that number 1 player, he's not even that good. Like he's not, like, it doesn't matter how high you get, people are going to trash on you, or you're going to beat yourself up. Like, you have to enjoy the process. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like I want to like push to my next goal.
Yeah.
So when I'm like winning, I'm getting closer to that goal. But when I'm losing, I feel like I'm getting farther from that goal.
Makes sense. What's the goal?
At the moment, I want to like hit top 500. Like, I'm thinking maybe long term, like
Sure.
go professional, right? Or like try to hit contenders.
Sure.
At the moment, I just want to like get good at the game.
How do you get to top 500 from where you're at right now?
Games.
What needs to improve? Because if you wanted to win games, just download AimHack, right? So how do you get there?
I think like just generally like a lot of things are lacking. My mechanics are okay, but they're inconsistent because it's hard to warm up in like FFAs because I adapt well. Like I can aim well when people don't have good movement, but then I go into a harder lobby and then everyone there has better movement and then I have to adapt again. But I think my aim is not really a big issue. It could certainly be better because I play the hit scan pool, so I'm competing with other hit scan mains generally. But like, I think like positioning a lot of it is like I die a ton.
So how do you improve your positioning?
Experiment maybe. I'm not super sure because I get better like passively and I don't know how.
Sure. And I think that may be why you're fixating a little bit on your winning, because I think human beings need to like anchor on something, right? If you want to, if I'm just showing up and I'm like, I don't really know what I need to be doing this game, then of course I'm going to focus on winning, right? There's no other parameter by which to judge success by. So then you need to find what those anchors are. What is success for you if not winning?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the problem. Because if you're saying, oh, if I'm winning, I'm getting close to that goal. If I'm losing, I'm getting further away from that goal. Well, that's obviously dumb, right? That makes no sense whatsoever because in the losing games, you might have gotten punished more for your positioning, which is what you needed to actually get to the top 500 goal. See, if the goal is top 500, the real goal is what you have to do to get to top 500. And if you don't know what you have to do to get to top 500, then you're not going to get to top 500, at least not as efficiently and as effectively as you possibly can. And you're going to get to top 500 with the wrong mentality. See, a lot of people get better just by playing the game, but at some point, like, you have to reevaluate like what got you here and what's going to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah. And I'm happy the games are more challenging than they have been in the past, but at the same time, like I have to drop like I'm winning all the time mentality because it's just not working.
Well, it only goes so far, right? Like even if you were ranked number one, you'd still be winning like what 55% of your games or 60%, like tops. Like you'd still be losing
Yeah.
a big chunk of your games because the matchmaker's going to put you in harder games. Like that, you're never going to outgrow the around 50% win rate. You know, like, you're going to
Yeah.
outgrow it temporarily, and then the pants are going to get tighter again. You know, so it's like you have to be able to embrace that and find something else to fixate on. Otherwise, you know, screw you. You know, so that's why we're here, right? We're going to give you something to fixate on. Surely. What's your training schedule like? How much do you play per day?
Let me think. I want to say probably like 3 hours.
Okay.
Low end probably 2.
Okay. Do you take any days off generally?
I don't play Sundays usually.
Okay. Makes sense. What's the longest that you play on like a weekend?
On a weekend, I could probably push like 7 hours on weekends.
Do you usually or rarely?
Probably regularly on weekends where I don't have anything to do.
All right, so 3 to 4, and then you push it longer on weekends. That's fine. Yes, that's fine. Obviously, like, you know, the weekend thing. Have you heard me talk about like how long deliberate practice lasts?
I think like a couple hours.
Yeah. So 3 to 4 is probably a good thing to aim for. So if you're playing for 7 on the weekend, at some point you're gonna have to realize that it's like brain fog. You know what I'm saying? Even though there's no school, so like you might need to kind of dial back the effort, or just be realistic that I'm not gonna be able to put as much effort. So just play for fun for the last few hours. But outside of that, it's all right. Do you have a warm up routine? You talked a little bit about FFA or deathmatch earlier.
Yeah, not really. Like I'll play some deathmatch and maybe a couple quick play games, but usually like I don't feel warmed up until a few comp games in.
Yep. Okay. What I would do is I would experiment with some different warm-ups and see what warms you up. How long does it usually take for like your
maybe an hour, maybe like 40 minutes.
Okay, that's a little long. Are you spending that much time in deathmatch?
Deathmatch is probably closer to 15 because it's like usually 2 or 3 games.
Right. And then the ranked game. Oh, I see. You're treating the ranked game as an okay. Yeah. We're good. That's honestly fine. Deathmatch, warm up, then right into ranked games. Yeah, I don't have too much of an issue with your training schedule. Are you taking like when you're in queue? Do you like get up, stretch your legs, move your arms? You know, do cartwheels?
A little bit. Like sometimes I'll move. I'll like go get another drink of water.
Yeah, I would aim for that more often. Even if it's just like 1 minute, that's going to help out your longevity. Okay. Yeah, I think it's mostly fine. I think your training schedule is okay. Sleep is definitely on the low end, especially for somebody your age. If you can bump those numbers up, I beg.
I can try. I try to go to bed regularly, but I have to wake up early for school, which sucks. But
yeah. You're just at an age, and you're also playing the game a role rather where you're going to need like every bit of sleep that you can. It will affect your MS reaction time. I'm just going to put it in straight black and white numbers. It will affect your MS. So just kind of keep that in mind. You're essentially playing on like, if you're on 6 or 7 hours of sleep versus like 8 to 9 hours of sleep, you're on like an extra 15, 20 ping. I mean, I'm kind of pulling those numbers out of the thin air, but I'm telling you, it's you don't have to take my word for it.
Yeah, I trust you there.
Okay. Hero pool and rank, Cassidy, Ash, Widow, Tracer, hitscan pool plus occasionally some Echo and May. I feel like a Cass OTP because I'm not so confident in the other hero picks, but I'm trying to expand my pool. Okay, we'll keep practicing, keep pushing that pool, and you can do one hero at a time too, right?
Yeah. At the moment, I default to Cass, but I'm trying to become more comfortable on Tracer.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, that's a fine pool, right? Like, I don't think you need to learn more than like 3 heroes as a hit scan. That might shift what those heroes are from meta to meta. Hint, you might not be playing a lot more Cassidy.
Yeah. I played a lot of Sojourn last season, but towards the end, I just didn't like her. It felt like a booster seat hero, so I started playing more Cass at the end.
Yeah. So you might be spending more time with the Tracer this coming season. So buckle yourself in. But, it's not a problem. Okay, do you have any questions so far?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not yet.
What do you feel is holding you back from improving? Mentality. I'm not playing comp as much as I want to because I regularly feel like I'm underperform, which hurts motivation to play. Well, with the schedule you told me earlier, there was enough hours, but I assume that you don't always hit that because of the mentality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'll play the game for like 4 hours. Comp maybe like sometimes it can be low, like an hour, sometimes 2, 3 hours.
Okay. The goal is 3. The goal is
Okay.
3.5, 4. To
Yeah.
spend the time while you're playing. But when you're playing, it's just I'm enjoying the process, right? With specific goals in mind. I don't want to harp too much more on that anymore, but obviously that's not optimal. So just think back what we talked about earlier, and then also once we actually get into the replay code, we'll give you some specific stuff to work on. Okay.
Yeah.
Positioning needs work. Mechanically, I'm okay. What should I be actively thinking about doing? How to think about it? Okay, we'll get to that in the replay code. I dropped my pen. Pen go. Okay. You're captain for your high school esports team. How often do you guys scrimmage?
We play every Wednesday. We scrim like once a week.
Okay. I assume you're by far the highest ranked player in the team?
Yeah. And just like within our circuit, like most high school teams aren't very good.
Pepper. Yeah, I mean it happens. It happens. Don't worry too much about it. Okay. I don't have any other questions. Do you have any other questions?
I'm thinking.
If they come up later, there's no rush like right
Yeah.
now. It's like now or never. No, it's fine.
Yeah, I think I just like overall, like I have a few replay codes. I don't know which one because I tried getting a good one yesterday, but the games were either like I really wasn't warmed up, so my aim was bad, or my team was just really good, so we curb stomped.
Okay.
So I think I'm looking for like general things to do better on every role, not necessarily hero specific, but I think just like what can I do better as a DPS?
Right. Okay, makes sense. Okay, let's shoot me what replay code that you have, especially if there's something that like was a little bit confusing or you weren't sure about how to play the matchup, even if y'all curb stomp or whatever. Just give me what you got.
I have maybe a couple choices. I have a new Bonnie one that I lost that was pretty bad. I was kind of like a non-factor for the beginning of the game, or a Li Zhang where I did okay.
Doesn't matter to me. Your choice.
I'll try new Bonnie. I don't play Cass on this one, which is my hang up, but I think just generally I'm looking how to be better, not like, yeah. Let me send it.
All right.
Like, I feel like I got carried for the beginning of this game a lot.
Right. Are you a Cloud9 or Anubis?
I am Fiction Q.
Oh, you're on Tracer. My bad. I saw a soldier. I just like turned my brain off.
I play Soldier for probably most of this game, I think.
Okay. Oh, you're playing a little bit of this.
At the very end.
Yeah. Okay. You want to look at some soldier?
Yeah, sure.
All
my
right.
aim is bad, just to realize that, because this was my second game I played today.
That's fine.
That day.
That's fine. All right. What are you trying to accomplish as soldier? What are your goals for the hero? What is soldier good at? What are the strengths?
I think Soldier just lays down a lot of damage, so he can hold areas well. At least that's my understanding. I think he has good range here. Like this box, I think he holds high ground well, and he doesn't need to be in that corner with the Rhine. And I think he's just like good to just like shoot people. Like where our Rhine is holding at the moment.
Over here. What do you mean you don't need to be here? You
like
can play like further away because of your range that you were saying? Yeah. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Makes sense. What would be the advantages of playing here as opposed to over there?
I think first off, I'd be taking less spam damage, but also I could help out with the choke and like help our Rhine there.
Sure. Okay. So then what are the advantages of playing here versus over here?
I have longer sight lines on the far back high ground.
Okay. Sounds good. You got a little bit of a crossfire over here too. I don't know. I'm not sure which one I like better. Let's just see what we got here.
I don't really do anything for the beginning of this game at all, so.
Well, that's perfect for us to look at then. It looks like you're doing all right to me, right? I don't see backliners walking forward, and that's your fault, so I respect it. You see what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
You're just kind of stuck. Now, it's not just you, but you are a large part of that.
I like right there, like I play really aggressive a lot, so then a lot of the time I'll die for it.
Okay.
So that I don't think it's so bad this game, but it happens a lot.
Okay, okay. Well, we'll have to take a look. It's all about return on investment. Is the aggression that you're doing worth the risk, right? Because you could be a high risk, high reward player, or you could be a low risk, low reward player, or you could be somewhere in between. What we want to remove are the high risk, low reward plays, right? Not discouraging from high risk, high reward plays, but the ones that have a lot of risk but don't have a lot of inherent value in them. So let's keep watching. Okay. Scout. Nice, nice. We use our... Okay. I appreciate the paying attention to your angles as much as you possibly can. Whoa. Nice. 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 You know, you're saying that you don't do a lot, but your attentiveness, your target focus, your mechanics, even some of your cooldowns have looked pretty solid so far. It's not very satisfying lasering people, but you see how you're controlling the tracer, you're controlling the echo, you're putting pressure on ball. You're not over-focusing the ball, though. You're kind of keeping your eyes on it, your head on a swivel. You ever heard that term before?
I can see that. No, I've never heard that.
So basically, it's like you're just you're not tunneled. You're checking over here, quick, over here, helping. Who's the most important person I could be shooting? And that's one nice thing about your position right now is it allows you to shoot so many different directions.
Yeah,
it kind of gives you options.
I guess like part of it was like I can see that I'm getting value here, but because I've always just been like a big number, big stats kind of guy. So when I look at scoreboard and I'm like not doing that, then I feel like I'm not performing.
Yes. Yes. It's a lot of what your issues are knowing that your mentality is not productive, but fighting the urge.
Yeah.
I know stats aren't good, but it's hard to not feel like I'm not doing anything, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how would you describe the play that you're going for right now in terms of the risk-reward spectrum? Even just pushing the tracer just a few seconds ago.
I think it's risky, but I kind of trusted to like take out that tracer there, and I think taking out someone on attack is better for defense, right?
Sure.
I want to get another angle because I know they're pushing in, so
you
I want to
had an
like
advantage here,
better.
right?
Yeah.
She didn't know that you would push like this, and you have your helix.
Yeah.
So seemed
So
like
I guess it was lower risk, right?
Well, I mean, I'm saying that it was certainly worth the risk, right? You had an advantage. You didn't just blindly take the duel. You had a reason to take the duel. You had an advantage. You're taking even this angle right here, right? Seems reasonable. Now, my question is, who should you be shooting here?
Echo, I think. Well, she's easier to kill, definitely. Like just, and I think she's in a better spot for impact.
Well, then that's it, right? That's just it. Even if you don't kill the Echo here, what does shooting her force?
It forces her out.
Forces her out, and that goes back to your last point there. She's in the more pressurable position. In other words, she can pressure my team. I can pressure her more easily, right? This ball is fine, but it's not the big priority right now.
Yeah.
And this goes back to your stats thing. This is going to feed more damage, but this is going to be less impactful damage.
Yeah.
Nice. Reasonable.
I tried dropping that for Cass, but he didn't need it. I was just trying to see if anyone came up that way.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Nice. Oh my gosh, that terrified me. Woo! All right. Scary.
This is unfortunate here.
Oh no, disaster. Disaster. Okay, what do you think about this fight?
I think I was in a good spot. I just didn't check the Ana, so she got me, and I think I popped Visor too early.
Well, maybe. Maybe. Because you hear Valk, and you hear them pushing, so you assume that there's going to be something pushing here. So yes, maybe a little bit early, but
yeah.
it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. Okay, let's keep watching. I think there's enough here that raises some questions, but also stuff that we can learn from in fights where you get punished for more. I don't think anything you did here was too egregiously bad. I'm quite confident that we're going to have more to work on here.
I've been getting better at not dying so much, but it feels like I'm playing a lot more passively than I have in the past.
Would you describe what you just did as passive?
No, not really.
Okay, so we're good to go at least for this map. Now, what should you be doing right now?
Probably taking high ground.
Right. It's investing time, right? Or tell you, you know, put money in the bank, right? Put money in the bank.
Nope. I don't think I take it though.
Yeah, you're trolling.
Yeah.
Because well, why are you not taking the high ground? What's the logic here?
I think part of it is I feel like Echo's pressuring high ground, and I'm scared to feed and die. I think I do take it in a few seconds here, but like I think it's just I'm trying to find out where to hold. I'm thinking maybe hold main, but I don't know. I'm just confused on where to be right now. I think that's the issue.
It's confused. It's confusing. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about your positioning, where sometimes you have these things where you don't really know what to position. You're just trying to experiment more. Okay, well then here's your option right now. So here's the question. Is holding high ground good when it's already... Well, okay, first off, there's nobody up here. So I think 100%. But what if your Cassidy was up here? Would you also want to stack with Cassidy?
I guess not. Because
You're not sure, are you?
Yeah, I'm not sure, really.
Okay, so then find out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, you're not even thinking. You're just shoot people.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You're not going to learn if this is how you play the game. And see, this is what we go back to your competitive anxiety. Don't think about winning this match or doing something right now. Think about, what do I want to be learning or experimenting with this map? With this hero. Because remember, one loss doesn't matter. You have to be willing to sacrifice and invest your time into going high ground, even if that means that you don't shoot anything for a little bit. You have to be willing to invest your attention and your effort into experimenting, even if it means you're not winning a few games immediately. Do you see the analogy there?
Yeah, I think so.
Play for the long game, play for investment, play for experimentation, play for learning, play for trying things, both in how you approach the game as soldier, but also approach the game as a whole. Right now, I want to be doing something, I have to be doing something, otherwise I feel like I'm not doing a lot. There you go. But obviously that should have been from the get-go.
Yeah.
Would have kept us saved us our heal station, for if nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Good. I mean, you need to be careful of the Echo Mercy, of course. You need to be careful of the ball. That's just not... High ground's just not free. But... is this another heal station for your Cass?
I think that was just I think I just put it down because I thought I was going to be taking more damage. Yeah, that's a very silly one right there.
No. I like this a lot. I love the ADHD stuff going on here. I'm not gonna lie with you. I love the checking the tracer and checking the soldier and checking the echo, because the funny thing is that sometimes you show a little bit of fixation with having to be doing something instead of investing your time, right? Shooting a little bit of the ball instead of the echo, sitting on the floor instead of taking the high ground. But then like right now, you're not doing damage on the ball, but you're doing something more important. You're getting scouting information on tracer. You're pressuring the echo. You're getting, this is good. I like this. I'm confused at the this discrepancy from what we see sometimes and what we see other times, but I'm a fan.
Okay.
Because right now, this is so valuable right now. What's about to happen? You see? Super
for
valuable.
sure.
Super valuable. 3 blinks, recall, scouting, denied her play, denied her that high ground. Brilliantly done. And not only did you react to it well, you actually predicted it. You anticipated it. You were thinking a step ahead. That's phenomenal work. You've played this one really well, I think, in terms of like your mind game. Now, in terms of mechanics, let's watch this a little bit slower. Would have been nice to have heal station, obviously. That's the number one thing. Number 2, obviously Helix, right? You know, either hitting the Helix as soon as she walks out the door, MS reaction speed, get more sleep, right? Or doing the 180, right? Something like that. And then also here, I think having, you know, did you know where your Ana LOS was?
More or less. That's why I dropped when I was like 20 health, because I wanted to make sure I could be seen.
Sure. Would have been nice to have a heal station here, though. You know what I'm saying? Because you see, the problem is then this allows you to play like the cover corner here, back towards a safer position. Because I think moving this direction wasn't as good, I guess, is my point.
A lot of the time, I'll retreat into the fight, which is a really dumb mistake.
Yeah. That being said, I'm a big fan of some of the stuff that you're doing, because it's important for us to not just highlight the things that you suck at, that you need to get better at, but also the things that you're doing really well that we need to be leaning into more. When you are like really focused on like your periphery, you do a phenomenal job. You're like a hamster on like hyped up on something, you know what I'm saying? Like you're constantly checking what's around you. Like you're never surprised. You're not getting as much high damage stats, but you're making the enemy DPS's lives miserable, right? They're never able to take flanks without you like smashing them in the face. That's really, really high value for you, but it's also really high value for your team. So I'm a fan of that. I want to see more of that.
I guess that's eye-opening, because that's not something I realized I do.
This game, you're doing it. I don't know if you're doing it in other games, but this game, you're doing it, and it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's not just a soldier skill, too, right? You could do this with Cassidy. You could do this with Tracer. You could do this with even Widowmaker and Ashe, where, like, obviously there's limits with how much attention you should be paying people on flanks, but if you're in a position to help deal with them, that's going to be better than fishing for, you know, big chunky tank damage a lot of the time. And even if it is tank damage, don't know where the tank is engaging from. No surprises. Like, ironically here, you die. Why?
I think I don't know where Echo is.
You just lost track.
Yeah.
You lost
I don't
track.
really keep track of players very well, but I do, like, look for them. And plus, she has no footsteps, so...
That's true. Now, don't just shoot to shoot. Think. Because you're down 1 right now. You know what flanks are available. You know what positions are available to them, and you know what positions are available to you. Where should you be?
I think on the left side high ground. I feel like that's where it would be better.
Like here? Or
yeah,
here?
like right around here.
Yeah. So why aren't you there?
I think I just got caught up in trying to like do damage.
You see that you were the Jekyll and the Hyde that's coming out right now, right? Yeah. Sometimes, you know, you're Dr. Jekyll and you're out here checking all the flanks and being aware and repositioning and thinking about high grounds. And sometimes you're Mr. Hyde and you're just shooting. You're just like bloodthirst yeah. May not cost you every fight. Uh-oh. Do you know what's happening on your periphery right now?
They're going for a flank? Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, you couldn't, could you? How could you? You're here.
Yeah, I don't have enough sight on the field to know what's happening.
Let me ask you a question. What happens if they ball slam? Where you're slammed, right? What happens if the Echo takes a flank off of that ball slam, or this Tracer looks for a pulse? You're cooked.
I'm very dead.
On a nades, you're cooked, right?
Yeah.
So both from a quote-unquote defensive mentality and an offensive mentality, you're not really in a position to do things, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that's something happens a lot, is I feel like I just don't do a lot.
And the question always comes into why.
Yeah.
You
And I
know?
guess I can see that better here. Like I should be in a different spot so I can literally see better.
Sure. So let's reevaluate. High risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. Lowest low reward position is where? Lowest low reward
Uh,
positioning, lowest low reward target priority is what?
on ball
Okay. And where?
in like where Anna is, or
Okay.
like just left to her.
So just like this position back here, right?
Yeah.
Totally sniping everything. Okay. High risk, high reward position. Where?
The far left flank off angle sort of.
Yeah. You see it, right?
Yeah.
Super high risk, high reward. But ironically, you would probably survive this position more from a dive better than you would here.
Yeah.
And
I'm
you'd have
literally out in the open here.
and you would have better damage on better kill threats as well. You get the best of both worlds. You don't have to play here. You could also go for the lower risk, medium reward player, or the lowest low reward player, but you're not getting rewarded for the risk that you're taking right now.
Yeah, it's high risk, low reward here.
Exactly. If you wanted to go for backline assassinations, if you wanted to mark Tracer, you can't do any of those things. Even if you wanted to maximize your tank damage, you would do it from a position where you have better LOS and a better cover, to where you wouldn't get knocked around like a bowling ball like you're doing right now.
I think right here I'm like playing shotgun Cassidy mode because I do that a lot.
Cassidy would be the same thing, right? It'd be the same thing with Cass. Like, how would you approach this fight with Cassidy? Honestly, it'd be more of the same. Now, maybe you prefer an angle like this is Cassidy rather than this far back. Maybe or maybe you prefer to go for like a high risk, high reward play like through here, right? Instead of going through here. But the mentality is the same.
It's a pretty bad habit I have, just like being close range and like all the time.
So you see what we've done is we've diagnosed what you're lacking and what you need to be putting effort into in your games. Not winning and losing, but fixing this. Or not even fixing, because it's never going to be fixed, because everybody makes these mistakes sometimes. But improving this.
Yeah.
So now we have direction, right?
I can see that, yeah.
And that's why we're here. Uh-oh. Make a decision. High risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. What do you do?
If I wanted low risk, I'd probably pull back through the doors behind, or the doors behind me would, I feel like, be high risk, because then, or at the moment it'd be low risk. I'd be safe, right? But I would be in a position to have high risk, high reward later. If I wanted lowest lower now, I'd probably run through the doors to my left.
Sure, so just run here, yeah. Okay. But you could also sit up here, right?
Yeah.
Crazy risky versus ball tracer, but maybe if you're like really sneaky, you know, when you peek late.
I think one of the reasons I don't do that regularly is I just don't trust my mechanics all the time.
Well, then how
especially
are your
right
mechanics
now
going to be
where
able to
I'm
handle
warming
that?
Yeah.
You need to put them in those situations where a slightly better player, don't put yourself in the situations that an Overwatch League player would hit these shots, you know, but a player 5% better than you would hit these shots. Okay, well, then get there, you know. I mean, I'm not saying that you necessarily have to do this. It is a high risk, high reward play. Maybe you feel like, okay, we have enough ultimates right now to where I don't need to go for a risky play. I could just play it normal and play lower, slow reward, and we're going to win because, you know, nano, rally, primal, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, obviously, I think I can get the impression that these thoughts aren't going through your head at all, or these skills are not even developed at all, and so then there's our opportunity for growth. To stop shooting.
I just play
Get out.
and
right. Now, okay, this is a really important question. Is it ever okay to just play?
I want to say yeah.
Okay.
Because like after 3 hours, I can't do anything but play, really.
Oh, you got all the right answers. Yes. Nice job. So if you're playing for practice, you know what to do. If you're playing to play, you know what to do. But at no time during either of those blocks are you playing to win.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
I think playing to play is a really good thing, because especially for self-improvement, because it gives you an accurate viewpoint of where you really are. Because when the thing is when you're thinking about all these things, you're going to mess up some stuff, you know, because you're super, super engaged in a lot of different directions, right? Or even if it's just one direction, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? But this has given us a very accurate viewpoint of where your skill actually is, right? We've seen a lot of stuff that you do when you're not thinking. That tells us where your skill actually is, right?
Yeah.
What we needed to do is get where you actually are when you're just playing to play, but make the playing to play look a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm not going to teach you or how to be more thoughtful player necessarily. What I am going to teach you is how to be more thoughtful so that when you're not thoughtful, you're still playing like a thoughtful player.
Okay, I see that. So just like make the autopilot better, basically.
Yes. That's the goal, because ultimately game of Overwatch is way too complicated to be able to be thinking about all these things at once. These things just need to be done without thinking.
Yeah.
Low risk, low reward. Play the cover though.
I'm not super sure what I'm doing here. I think I'm looking for ball.
I think so too, but it's just like, all right, guys, I got this area. I'm controlling this space. you know, it's like you're stalling a cart that's not being. I don't really know. It's just bizarre, man.
I think I was looking for echo. I'm not sure.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Doesn't matter though. It's not as funny when I think of it that way. Okay. Nice. All right. Let's go. Let's go.
Nice story.
Nice. Medium risk, medium reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Primal is something. Oh! I was a hater, I guess. It worked out. So you're playing very low risk, low reward.
Yeah.
But here's my question. What if you were to go here?
If I went there, I think it'd be a little more risk because there'd be longer sightlines for them to see me, but I'd also have more sightlines myself.
Right. The problem here is that just be careful about being out in the open, right? Just careful.
Yeah. I've been trying really hard to get better at just cover usage, but like right here, like a lot of the time I'll just default and just hold the center of the road.
Try harder.
Yeah.
Nice! The goat. Okay. Any questions so far?
There's one on my mind. I can't word it. One sec.
Sure. Good time.
I think, like, I struggle with going for high risk plays because I don't like trust myself to live that play because I like I've said, like I die usually a lot. Like it's not uncommon for me to have like the same stats as the rest of my team, but have as many deaths as the enemy team who's losing. So like I worry about dying because I don't want to be the reason we lose. I think that's something I struggle with most.
Well, be the reason your team wins. You know what I'm saying? Be the reason that your team wins. Like actually do something, contribute something that's actually going to assist your team in actually winning the game. Now, how do you cut down? What are some things that you could do in high risk, high reward plays that reduce your risk but don't reduce the reward? We've talked a little bit about it today, right?
I think like escape routes, like on that left side flank, like I had the door next to me where I could run out.
Just
right?
cover in general, right? Is good.
Yeah.
So and, you know, how did you play the duel? Was your cooldown usage? Could it have been better? Were you intelligent about it? Here's another thing. When do you time these high risk, high reward plays? So like if you're going for a hard flank, when should you go for the hard flank?
Yeah. Like when they're pushing. I feel like a lot of Overwatch is just catching someone's push.
Sure. But you've given yourself some things to kind of keep in mind when you do go for these plays, right? The timing of when you're going for it, you know, the cover usage, maybe the target even that you're going for, and so on. Okay. Let's focus on that. It's not the theory of high risk, high reward plays that is the problem. It's maybe the way that you're doing these high risk, high reward plays. And as we've seen, at least from this VOD, a lot of your risk reward ratio is off just because you're just not even making good rewards for the risk that you're taking. Like you're just sitting in positions that don't increase your reward at all. You're just kind of standing out.
Lately I've been just more afraid of dying, literally, because it just feels bad when I know I'm the reason we lose that point or whatever, because I tried going for a push, but it was like low risk, high reward.
Right.
Or no, high risk, low reward. Right. And then I die and then we lose point and steamroll.
Right. That's all right. Be objective about it. Everything should be as objective about it. It's not the theory of it, but like, what do I need to do to make these plays better? Do you see this? What is this? don't really know what that is.
There they go.
It
They're
just,
probably
like,
the like
it keeps like glitching.
terminals or something. Yeah, replay is weird.
Replay viewers like tripping man. All right, let's take a look. Do you want to look at your tracer? Or do you want to keep stay on the soldier train, or anything else that you want to look at?
Maybe look at a bit of tracer.
All right.
I'm a little tempted to go to a different code where I play
Orc survey?
casts.
Orc survey?
Could we like split that like 50 tracer, 50 cast later?
Well, we have like 10 minutes, so however you want to spend that time. You also have a free replay code review as well afterwards at some other time, so you can do this anytime.
Can you explain that real quick?
So in other words, you have a free replay code where you can send me at a replay code. It send me like 4 timestamps, and I'll go over it, and I'll send you the link to a VOD that I'll go over it for you. So in other words, you just send me, hey, I want to look at this, and I'll send you like 4 team fights, and I'll go, okay, and then within a couple of days, I'll send you some feedback.
Okay.
And you can do that anytime you want.
I see.
So what are you thinking?
I think I'd like to see where I struggle on this map. So just before we take second point, like
Sure.
I feel I was just like a non-factor a lot of the time.
So later in the VOD?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look. Okay.
Yeah, here in like the next 3 minutes, we struggle taking this point pretty bad.
So let's go back a little bit. I know we're cruising through this pretty quickly here. So always thinking 2 steps ahead, right? Where do I need to be for what I need to do? So you're playing Tracer.
Yeah.
What's your priorities here?
I want to be able to pressure squishies, or at least like control what people can do.
Sure.
Sort of.
What do you think about what you're doing right now?
I'm not doing a lot. I'm really just shooting tank, but he's just getting healed up.
So where could you be, and how could you pressure something that's maybe a little bit more high impact?
I think the left side, like where my left gun is.
Like here?
Yeah.
Sure.
And maybe I could go farther back, but I'm afraid of like cast pocket.
Well, this feels uncomfortable, right? This feels too far. So how do we close the distance safely?
To the top side flank, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And when would you go for a play like this? Would now be a good time?
A little bit, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap going on right now, right? So any distraction that you provide right now would disproportionately assist your team in dealing with the Winston than the damage that you're doing to the Winston, no?
Yeah.
You can hear it. You don't even need to see it. You can hear it. Drop, whammo. And the funny thing is you were there. You see that?
Yeah. And so right here, I'm just shooting tank. I'm not doing anything.
Right.
Not anything of value, at least.
Right. Not enough value.
I also get silly pulse there.
Yeah.
It happens a few times this game. My pulse mechanics have been bad lately.
I wouldn't say that you're doing anything badly now. Like, you are getting in pretty good tank damage, but obviously could be optimal here, right? Or could be more optimal, I guess is what I would say. Okay, get her. Ooh. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's my main takeaway from that one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Risk versus reward.
I was doing a little bit of value at the beginning, zoning off the back line, like 4 people, but then I just didn't do much after that.
Right. What's better to zone off the backline or actually threaten to kill on the backline?
To threaten a kill.
You know, because the threatening to kill does the zoning, but it does it with a little cherry on top as well.
Yeah.
You actually maybe force more cooldowns and so on, right? Now, what do you think now?
I should be going with the stairs, I think. I thought maybe I could C9 it, but like that definitely did not happen. So
You know, here's the thing. What you're doing now isn't bad. You are providing pressure on an off-angle pressuring card. Like, I think this is reasonable enough. I would not say this is bad, what you're doing. I don't know if it's optimal. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not 100% sure if it's optimal. But I do think that, like, especially if you were to get a pulse here, this would be a time to go for a higher risk, higher reward play on high ground.
Yeah.
So maybe this one is just a little bit unlucky, where like it just didn't quite work out as it could have or should have, but you were doing the right things. I definitely think this fight where you were already on high ground, we should have leveraged that. But
this is unfortunate here.
Oh no!
I just messed up my mechanics bad.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But I would not go as far to say that this fight in particular is particularly bad from you, honestly. I just don't think. I think it could have been executed mechanically better. Now this fight, you have pulse, right?
Yeah, I think I fluffed this one again.
Well,
yeah.
What's the issue? Think about it. How should we be using this pulse? How should we be setting up with this pulse? Where should we be setting up this pulse? What's the issue with our positioning right now?
I should be going for I think like underneath through the stairs onto like the mercy cast in the back.
Honestly, do exactly what you just did the fight before. Start from here. This is an easier staging ground, no?
Yeah. And I'm walking into a lot of damage.
Right. This is the problem here. Look at the range of which you're playing this hero. It's okay, but it's just a much higher risk. Much higher risk. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Forces your recall early, and then obviously the hat combo and so on. Okay. One more fight. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Coward's way out. That's okay. That's okay. So let's type up some notes here. Soldier. Actually, let's just go general. General notes. What are things that you need to be improving on, just as a whole, your approach to the game, your mentality, and so on? What are some goals?
I think just like baseline is to ultimately I think it's a lot of just play more, but just get used to losing and have a goal or have an anchor to work on, so I'm not so worried about win-loss.
Mm-hmm. Besides the W, to hang your focus. Because if you're focusing on something, then if you do well at focusing at it, even if you don't perform very well, but you're thinking about it a lot, then that's a successful game. It might not feel like a successful game. You can't lie to yourself and be like, hey, I lost the game. Nice job, you know?
Yeah.
But it will feel a little bit better if you felt like it was productive. That's the goal.
Yeah.
You need to make your games productive, okay? Anything else? That was the big one for sure.
I think positioning in the sense of risk and reward. Like because like the soldiers, especially like towards the end of the first round, where I'm like high risk, low reward. Like right. I just should be like balancing that out properly.
Sure. And what were some of the non-negotiable factors with that, whether it's high risk or low risk or whatever? What were the things that you were screwing up with your positioning specifically?
I think I was just not able to get value outside like shooting tank, really.
Angles you were taking, cover usage as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything specific with soldier or tracer?
I think with the tracer, just like staging better.
Staging better. Okay. What about soldier?
I think soldiers like kind of just generally like the positioning stuff.
No notes for soldier / tracer, because ultimately, honestly, both of those were just the general things that we talked about. You kind of see?
Yeah.
And this is why it's important, is because if Cassidy is trash this Tuesday, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're an Ash main or a Widow main or a Soldier main or a Tracer main or a Sojourn main. Again, ha ha ha. And you're gonna know what you need to be thinking about, regardless of what hero you're playing. Now, the way that that's
Yeah.
interpreted for each hero is different, and you might need to practice that. But at least you have an idea or a goal of what you need to be improving at as a whole with your play.
Yeah. Because
Um,
I just want to get better like throughout on so I can like if meta determines that like Torb Sim is good, then I want to
right,
be able to play those.
right, right, right. Exactly, exactly. So for you, it's been a little bit more big picture stuff. If I wanted to throw in some details in there, put the same level of effort with your cooldowns and ultimates as you do with your positioning. Because everything that we talked about today could also have been immediately applied to your cooldowns and ultimates as well, right? Your heal station, your visor, how you'd set up your pulse, and so on. Like thinking ahead of time about it, investing the
Yeah.
time between fights, and then I would say, no, I think that's mostly it for me. Do you have any questions?
Okay. Uh, I think that's all right. I think my question would be like a follow up like getting another session in the future or that replay code I can send in.
Yeah,
Like
do
I
the
can just
replay code thing first. Do that next
yeah.
week, this week, month from now, whenever you'd like. And for follow up session, do it whenever you could book it whenever you like. But I would aim for 3-4 weeks
Okay.
at minimum, just to give you time to actually internalize, practice, build up some new habits, come up with some new questions, right? And then go from there.
Yeah. Oh, I think a question I have is
Sure.
I like just in game, it's hard for me to like focus on like a fundamental or like practicing something specific.
Yeah.
I think with like a with something more solid than have good cover, I should be good. But that's just something like I'll think about it for a game and then like I'll steadily get worse.
Sticky notes, phone alarms, practice. Um, honestly just reps, right? Like even if you're like, okay, I'm not very good at it, but I was able to remember this whole discussion for like 3, 4, 5 games, right? That's pretty good. You know, that's a decent chunk of games. Like you have to understand that where you're at right now is like you're not doing basically any of this, right? So like
Yeah.
even if you're able to do this for your first several games before you kind of get a little bit distracted and so on, and then you're like, oh shoot, I took a short break, you know, I need to remember to focus on that, and then half of the next game you're able to, and then half of the next game after that, that's okay. I still better than where we're at, you know, one step at a time.
Yeah.
This is it's new to give yourself direction, so I'm going to expect you
Yeah.
to revert back and just playing to win. That's gonna happen. It's gonna happen a lot, but can we be 5% better than we were before?
Yeah.
So
And
it's not.
also just taking breaks, just like a small thing. Like
Yes.
how often should I like take a 20 or 10-minute break between play?
I think you should take a 1 or 2 minute break between every game, as we talked about earlier. But I would say anytime where you feel like you're having a hard time focusing or you're getting tilted or like I'm forgetting some of the goals, that's time for a slightly longer break. 10-minute break.
Okay, okay.
Gives you that little bit of energy, a little bit of refocus. Go again. You'll still probably run out of gas, but you'll have like a little bit more gas than you would if you just grinded straight through.
Yeah.
Make sense?
That makes sense.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll keep in touch. If you do have any questions, you could just shoot them my way. Don't forget the replay code rule. And good luck with your practice, mate. Don't worry about the losing.